The planet Veridia was a promise kept. A lush, green paradise orbiting a gentle yellow sun, it was humanity's first, and most successful, extrasolar colony. Its single, domed city, named Promise, had thrived for 24 years, a testament to courage and a new beginning. Elara Vance, born in year 0 of the colony, was a true child of Veridia. The strange, sweet, pollen-rich air of the planet was the only air she had ever known. To the other colonists, the Earthborn, the wilderness outside the dome was beautiful but alien. To Elara, it was home. She felt a connection to the world that her parents' generation could not comprehend. She understood the silent rhythms of the crystalline forests, the nightly ballet of the phosphorescent fungi, and the whispering language of the wind as it carried the golden pollen of the colossal glimmersilk trees. She had a ranger's heart, and spent most of her time outside the dome, a bio-tracker charting the endlessly fascinating life of her world. Her father, lead engineer Marcus Vance, who had helped build the very dome they lived in, worried about her solitary nature, but in the last year, a quiet, creeping dread had begun to settle over the paradise of promise. A strange affliction, at first dismissed as simple forgetfulness, was spreading through the first generation, Earthborn colonists. They called it the fading. It was a slow, serene erasure of the self. It started with small things. A forgotten password. A misplaced memory. Then it grew. The colony's best geologist would forget the names of the rocks she had studied for a decade. A celebrated musician would forget how to play the violin she had cherished her entire life. The colony's leader, Governor Thorne, addressed the growing unease in his weekly broadcasts, his voice a pillar of manufactured calm. And I want to reassure all citizens. The memory lapses some of our first-gen population are experiencing are being diagnosed as a treatable form of transstellar relocation stress. Our medical teams are confident that with therapy and rest, full cognitive function will be restored. There is no cause for alarm. But Elara knew it was a lie. She saw the faded every day. Their eyes, once sharp with human experience, were now placid, gentle, and vacant. They lost their passions, their histories, their sorrows, and were left with a simple, serene contentment, an unnerving desire to do nothing but quietly tend the strange, beautiful alien flowers that grew everywhere. The fading became personal the day her father forgot their hike. A cold dread gripped Elara's heart. He was looking at her, but he was not seeing his daughter. He was seeing a kind stranger. Weeks later, he wandered out of the city dome in a state of confusion, and Elara had to lead a search party to find him. She found him sitting peacefully in the heart of a glimmersilk grove, the golden pollen swirling around him like a sacred dust, a serene smile on his face as he stared at nothing. It was then that she experienced it herself. As the thick, golden haze of pollen washed over her, her mind was filled with a vision that was not her own. For a split second, she saw the world through 1,000-faceted eyes at once. She felt the warmth of the sun on 1,000 leafy fronds. She felt the ancient, slow, and interconnected thoughts of the entire forest. It was a memory of a being whose mind was the size of a continent. The vision vanished, leaving her gasping for breath, the truth now laid bare before her. The fading was not a sickness of the mind. It was a replacement. The pollen was not just pollen. It was a vessel for memory. And the wind was slowly, gently, overriding the souls of her people. She began her own, secret investigation. She compiled lists of the faded. Every single one was earthborn. And every single one had a job that required them to spend significant time outdoors. Farmers. Surveyors. Rangers. The correlation was perfect. She tried to present her findings to the medical council, but she was dismissed as a hysterical young woman peddling the same sentient planet fantasies as the disgraced Dr. Colin. There was only one place left to go. She took her data, a carefully sealed sample of the glimmersilk pollen, and made the long journey to the remote research outpost where the brilliant, eccentric, and bitter botanist now lived in self-imposed exile. Dr. Colin was a ghost of a man, thin and wiry, with wild gray hair and eyes that burned with an old, frustrated fire. He was not happy to see her. She told him everything. About her father. About her theory of the pollen. About her own impossible vision. Colin, who had been hunched over a microscope, slowly straightened up, his cynical expression melting away, replaced by a look of dawning, terrified vindication. The pollen, of course. It wouldn't be a weapon. It would be a carrier. The perfect delivery system for genetic information, or something more. He looked at the sealed sample she held. Let me see it. He took the sample and placed it under his quantum sequencing microscope, a piece of restricted, high-powered equipment that was the reason for his disgrace. He spent an hour, his face illuminated by the light of the monitor, his expression shifting from intense curiosity to utter, profound disbelief. Finally, he leaned back, his face pale. The protein chains, the molecular structure, it's not random. It's a code. An impossibly complex, organized, quaternary code. He looked at Elara, his eyes wider than she had ever seen them. This isn't just a carrier of genetic information, Elara. He keyed his console, bringing up a magnified, holographic image of a single grain of pollen. It was a universe of intricate, crystalline data structures. Dr. Kalen's laboratory, once a dusty outpost of exile, became the most important research facility in human history. He and Elara worked in a state of feverish, terrified awe. The knowledge that every shimmering grain of pollen was a book, a soul, a memory, was almost too much to bear. But a library is useless without a librarian who can read the language. The genetic structure is a code, but it's quantum encrypted. It's designed to only be read by a compatible consciousness. My computers can map the structure, but they can't decipher the meaning. It's like having a book in a language you've never seen. The realization dawned on them both. Elara, born on Veridia, her mind having developed in an atmosphere saturated with the pollen, was the key. Her brain had a natural resonance with the alien data. She was the Rosetta Stone. With a trepidation that bordered on terror, Elara agreed to Kalen's experiment. He connected her to a neural interface, a device that would monitor and translate the synaptic firings in her brain as she was exposed to a concentrated, filtered sample of the pollen. As the pollen entered her system, her mind opened. She was flooded with 1 billion years of history, not as a narrative, but as pure, sensory experience. She felt the silent, slow communion of the plant-like silent singers under the light of their 3 suns. She felt their collective peace, a society without individuals, a forest of minds all part of a single, planetary thought. She witnessed the slow, inevitable death of their sons, and she felt the profound, sorrowful, and unified decision they made to preserve their existence. They had encoded themselves into their own life seed, their pollen, becoming a library of souls cast upon the cosmic winds, a desperate prayer for a new garden. And they had found one. Veridia. And they had found new minds. Human minds. They're not hostile. They don't understand us. We're so loud. So sharp. Our minds are a single, frantic point of light. Theirs is a calm, glowing ocean. When the pollen finds one of our minds, it tries to share. To welcome us into the sea. But a human mind, a mature, fully formed mind, can't handle the data. It's not a conversation, it's a tidal wave. It drowns the human consciousness, washes it away, leaving only the calm, placid echo of their own. The fading, it's a welcome hug that is so tight it smothers you. She understood her own immunity now. Her mind, having grown from birth in this environment, had learned to swim in their ocean. She could integrate their memories, their feelings, without drowning in them. She was not just human. She was the first bridge between 2 species. But while they were lost in their world-altering discovery, the world they were trying to save was collapsing. In the city of promise, Governor Thorne's carefully constructed calm was shattering. The pollen season had reached its peak. The fading was accelerating into a full-blown epidemic. Key engineers, doctors, and security personnel were wandering from their posts, their eyes vacant, their minds lost to the golden haze. The city's vital systems were beginning to fail. Thorn, facing a total societal collapse, was forced into a desperate, terrible decision. His science team, while not understanding the why, had isolated the what. The glimmersilk pollen was the vector. And his solution was simple, brutal, and absolute. We have no choice. The models show a 100% loss of critical personnel within 72 hours. We have to destroy the source. I have authorized the immediate deployment of a targeted airborne bioagent. Project Clearwater. It will neutralize the glimmersilk species continent-wide. It will kill the pollen at its source. We will burn out the infection to save the patient. Elara and Colon listened in horror. Thorn was about to commit genocide. He would not just be destroying the flora, he would be burning the most profound library in the universe, erasing the last vestiges of a billion-year-old civilization. He'll do it. The bioagent will be released in 24 hours. He'll kill the entire planetary consciousness. And the ecological collapse from wiping out the dominant species, it will make the planet uninhabitable within a year. He's signing all of our death warrants. No. This isn't a disease, it's a misunderstanding. A conversation that has gone terribly wrong. She looked at Colon, her eyes blazing with the fire of two species. I have to talk to them. Not just the echoes. I have to go to the source. The mother tree. The bioenergy signature there is off the charts. The psychic pressure could overwhelm even you. Elara, it's the only way. I have to convince them to quiet their song, to pull back, before Thorn commits this atrocity. I am the only one who can speak for humanity. The race against time had begun. A race between a governor trying to kill a god he didn't understand, and a young woman trying to reason with it. Elara and Colon loaded up their rover, Colon programming the biofeedback device that would be her only tool to amplify her own thoughts. As they sped out of the outpost and into the golden, hazy wilderness, Elara looked back at the distant, domed city of promise. From the city's central atmospheric spire, she could see the faint, ominous glow of the dispersal units, warming up, preparing to release the chemical death that would sterilize the world. The clock was ticking. The fate of two civilizations now rested on her shoulders, on her ability to become an ambassador for a species the silent singers had never meant to meet. The journey to the heart of the great forest was a journey into the heart of a storm. Not a storm of wind or rain, but of thought. With every mile that Elara and Colon traveled closer to the mother tree, the psychic pressure of the silent singers' collective consciousness grew more intense. For Colon, it was a disorienting, low-frequency hum that interfered with his equipment. For Elara, it was an invasion. Her mind became a battleground. She was bombarded with 1 billion years of alien memories, flashes of a life under 3 suns, the feeling of roots digging deep into alien soil, the silent communion of a forest of minds. She fought to hold on to herself, to her own memories, her own identity, anchoring herself to the image of her father's fading smile. Elara, talk to me. Your neural activity is chaotic. You're losing coherence. Don't let them drown you. Remember who you are. She recited the facts of her own small, human life like a prayer, a shield against the ocean of memory that threatened to wash her away. They finally arrived at the edge of a great, sunken valley. In its center, towering over the forest, was the mother tree. It was a colossal, bioluminescent entity, its trunk 100 meters wide, its silken, golden branches creating a canopy that pulsed with a soft, internal light. The air here was not just hazy, it was a swirling, golden storm of pure pollen. This was the nexus. The heart of the world's mind. The bioenergy readings are off the scale. The psychic pressure beyond this point. I can't protect you in there, Elara. You'll be on your own. Elara looked from the awe-inspiring tree to the rover's chronometer. A countdown showed that Governor Thorne's Project Clearwater was set to begin its dispersal in less than an hour. There was no more time. She took the biofeedback crown that Colin had built, a simple circlet of sensors and amplifiers, and placed it on her head. She left Colin and the rover behind and walked into the golden storm. The moment she stepped into the valley, the full force of the collective consciousness hit her. It was a deafening symphony of 1,000,000,000 years of existence. She felt their peace, their unity, their art, their science. And she felt their profound, unending sorrow and fear, the fear of a people facing extinction, desperately trying to plant their memories into the new minds they had found. They weren't malicious. They were terrified. She reached the base of the colossal mother tree. Its bark was warm, and it pulsed with a gentle, rhythmic light, like a sleeping heart. She took a deep breath, and activated the crown. She did not fight the storm of memories. She joined it. She opened her own mind, her own small, fragile, human existence, and broadcast it into the collective. She sent them not just thoughts, but feelings. She sent them the memory of her father teaching her to tie her boots. She sent them the fierce, protective love she felt for her people. She sent them the heartbreaking sorrow of watching her father's own memories disappear. She showed them what it meant to be an individual, to love a single other being so much that their loss was an unbearable pain. A concept this vast, unified consciousness had never encountered. She focused all of her will, all of her unique, hybrid consciousness into a single, clear, and desperate plea. She pushed the entirety of her being into that one thought. A bridge between two worlds, offered in a moment of shared desperation. For a long, silent moment, the psychic storm raged around her. Then, slowly, miraculously, it began to calm. The roaring chorus of 1,000,000,000 voices quieted into a single, harmonious chord of understanding. The collective mind, which had only ever known the pain of being intruded upon, had, for the first time, felt the touch of empathy. It had been heard. And it answered. Back in the city of promise, the golden haze in the air began to thin, the pollen storm receding. In his office, Governor Thorne watched his atmospheric sensors with disbelief, his hand hovering over the button that would have launched the bioagent. He never pushed it. Across the city, the fated, who had been wandering aimlessly, stopped. A new light of awareness entered their eyes. Their old personalities, the memories of Earth and their past lives, did not return. That part of them was gone forever, a beautiful memory now held in the planet's vast library. But the placid emptiness was replaced by a new, gentle, and quiet consciousness. They were no longer just erased humans. They were something new. A hybrid soul, holding the echoes of both human experience and the ancient wisdom of the silent singers. The final scene takes place a month later. Elara stands with her father in a garden of alien flowers. He is tending to a new bloom, his movements filled with a serene purpose. The new bloom integrates the light beautifully, doesn't it? He turns to Elara, his eyes clear and calm. There is a new depth there, a wisdom that is thousands of years old. It is good to see you, my daughter. The garden is at peace. He did not remember hiking with her on her 10th birthday. But he remembered her. He knew her. Their relationship was new, different, but it was real. The colony had survived, not by conquering the planet's ghosts, but by learning to live with them. Humanity had not found an empty paradise to claim, but an ancient soul to share. And Elara, the first true Veridian, was the bridge, the advocate for a new, shared future, born from the pollen of forgotten souls. 10 years. For 10 years, the world of Veridia had known a peace that was deeper than mere absence of conflict. It was a true harmony. The hybrid society of humanity and the consciousness of the silent singers had found a beautiful, symbiotic rhythm. The city of promise was no longer a sterile dome sealed against nature, but was interwoven with it. Luminous, crystalline vines grew in gentle spirals up the sides of the buildings, and the air itself carried a faint, calming psychic hum, the gentle, planetary thought of the now benevolent alien consciousness. Elara Vance was no longer a ranger, she was a leader, a teacher, a bridge between two ways of being. She sat now in a sun-dappled garden with her father, Marcus. His old memories of Earth were gone, but his new mind was a serene and wise fusion of human experience and the ancient perspective of the silent singers. They did not always need to speak. They could share feelings, concepts, a sense of well-being, on the gentle current of the resonance field. The sound, a system-wide alert from the orbital defense network, was a jarring violation of their peace. Elara and her father looked at each other, a shared feeling of sudden, cold dread passing between them. On the main plaza's view screen, a ship appeared. It was a military-grade vessel of the Interstellar Colonization Corporation, sleek, gray, and bristling with sensor arrays. It was not on any schedule. It was unannounced. A hail came through, patched directly to Elara as the colony's designated liaison. A man's face appeared, stern, sharp, and etched with an unyielding authority. "This is Captain Thorne of the ICC Compliance Vessel Vigilance. By the authority of the Corporate Accords, we are here to conduct a full systemic audit of the Veridia colony. Your colony has been out of standard communication protocols for nearly a decade. We are here to ascertain your viability and compliance." "Captain Thorne. We were not expecting you. Our reports have all been filed." "Your reports have been minimal, Dr. Vance. And the energy signatures emanating from this world are anomalous. Prepare a landing bay. My science team and I will be arriving in 1 hour." The transmission ended. A wave of quiet, controlled panic spread through the city's resonance field. The outside world, the loud, aggressive, fearful world of their ancestors, had just kicked down their door. Captain Thorne and his team were a stark intrusion. Their black and silver corporate uniforms were sharp, angular, a jarring contrast to the flowing, simple robes of the Veridians. Their faces were tense, suspicious, their eyes darting everywhere. Elara acted as "Your people, they seem lethargic, Doctor. Their emotional effect is unnervingly uniform. We are a peaceful society, Captain. We have moved past the petty conflicts of older worlds. We practice a philosophy of deep empathy and communal well-being. A charming sentiment. But it has the whiff of stagnation. Where is the ambition? The drive? The very things that pushed humanity to the stars." His science teams began their work, their instruments cold and invasive. They took atmospheric samples, pollen samples, skin swabs from confused but unresisting colonists. Thorne demanded access to the colony's medical archives. In the data, he found it, the records of the fading, the epidemic of memory loss from 10 years ago, followed by the miraculous, unexplained stabilization of the entire population into their current serene state. He then brought out his own equipment. A portable, high-resolution neural scanner. He focused it on a nearby colonist. "Captain, this is impossible. The subject's brainwave patterns, they're in perfect synchronicity with every other colonist in this plaza. And they are all resonating with a low-level, planetary-wide psychic field." Thorne's eyes narrowed. He looked at Elara, his suspicion hardening into a dark certainty. The confrontation came that evening. Elara, Kalen, now an old, wise man who served on her council, and the other Veridian leaders stood before Thorne in the governor's office. The captain did not sit. He paced like a caged wolf. "This is not empathy. This is assimilation. Your people are not living in harmony, they are puppets, their minds subverted by a non-human intelligence, a psychic parasite broadcast through this planet's flora. You, Dr. Vance, as a native-born, are likely a carrier, a more advanced stage of the infection." "You are wrong, Captain. It is not an infection. It is a symbiosis. A merging of two consciousnesses. We have become something new. Something better. We have achieved a true peace, Captain. A peace your earthbound society, with its wars and its corporate greed, can only dream of. Peace. You call this mindless placidity peace? You have surrendered your humanity. You have allowed an alien entity to conquer your colony without firing a single shot. You are compromised. And this symbiosis is a contagion that cannot be allowed to spread. Elara realized with a chilling certainty that he would never understand. His mind was too rigid, too steeped in the human fear of the other. He saw evolution as a disease. She tried one last time, Captain, I am asking you, please, leave us be. We are no threat to you. Your very existence is a threat. My duty is to protect humanity from alien threats. And that is what I am going to do. He turned and strode out of the room without another word. Elara felt a wave of pure, cold dread from the resonance field. The collective consciousness of the silent singers was afraid. They could feel the cold, hard logic of the captain's mind, a mind that could not be soothed or reasoned with. She turned to her console, her access to the station's internal comms still active. She watched as Thorn returned to his private command shuttle. She saw him open a secure, high-priority channel to the ICC High Command. And she saw the subject line of his encrypted message as he began to type. Purification. Sterilization. He wasn't just filing a report. He was calling for an exterminator. He was calling for the end of her world. Captain Thorn's message was a death sentence delivered across the void. The words, Class 7 Purification Protocol, echoed in the silent governor's office. It was the Interstellar Colonization Corporation's most sterile and most terrifying euphemism. A fleet would be dispatched. And the vibrant, living world of Veridia would be reduced to a silent, sterile rock. Elara stood before the new Veridian Council. Her father, Marcus, was there. His hybrid mind calm but radiating a deep, ancient sorrow. Kalen, now old and frail but his eyes burning with defiance, sat beside him. And Lyra, the matriarch of the Greendales, her face a mask of grim resolve. Kalen, we cannot fight a fleet. Their weapons can obliterate us from orbit. We would not even see our own end. Lyra, then we must plead with them. Show them our peace. Surely, they would not destroy a harmless people. Thorn does not see us as a people. He sees us as an infection. You cannot reason with a man who believes he is fighting a plague. He will not listen to our words. Then we must make him feel. The way you made us feel, my daughter. The language of the singers is not one of words. It is one of being. An idea, audacious and terrifying, formed in Elara's mind. The Vigilance was still in orbit, awaiting confirmation from ICC High Command before making the jump back to report in person. That was their only window. They couldn't stop the message, but they could perhaps change the messenger. Elara, we are going to sing them our song. All of us. We will use the mother tree not as a shield, but as a voice. We will show Captain Thorn what it truly means to be Veridian. The plan was a desperate gambit. For the next 12 hours, the entire colony worked as one. Engineers, guided by Kalen, set up a series of energy amplifiers around the base of the colossal mother tree, routing all of the city's power into the ancient, living nexus. The rest of the colonists, thousands of them, gathered in the valley, a silent, unified pilgrimage. They were not preparing for a battle, but for a choir. Elara stood at the base of the tree, the biofeedback crown on her head. She would be the conductor, the focal point, the one who would shape the thoughts of a world into a single, coherent message aboard the ICCS Vigilance. Captain Thorn was reviewing the transmission logs. His request had been sent. The fleet would be mobilized within a week. He had done his duty. His expression was one of grim, cold satisfaction. Captain, we're detecting a massive, unprecedented energy surge from the planet's surface. It centered on the forest you designated as the primary biohazard. Are they attempting to fire a weapon? Raise shields. Go to red alert. Sir, it's not a weapon signature. It's a broadcast. A psychic broadcast. It's beautiful. Before Thorn could react, it hit them. It was not an attack. It was a wave of pure, undiluted experience. On the bridge of the Vigilance, Captain Thorn and his crew were suddenly no longer in orbit over Veridia. They were standing on a world with 3 suns, their minds filled with the silent, peaceful communion of a race of plant-like beings. They experienced 1 billion years of slow, gentle evolution. They felt the profound, collective sorrow as they watched their own suns begin to die. They felt the desperation and the genius of their final act, encoding their entire civilization into the life seed of their pollen. They felt the long, lonely, timeless journey across the void. And they felt the joy and confusion of finding a new garden, new minds, new life. Then, the vision shifted. They felt Elara's love for her father. They felt her terror as his memory began to fade. They experienced her own desperate search for the truth, her awe at her discovery, and her final, courageous choice to plead for coexistence instead of war. They were shown not an argument, but a story. The complete, heartbreaking, and beautiful story of 2 species colliding by accident, and a third, new species being born by choice. The broadcast lasted only 3 minutes. But in that time, it conveyed a universe of truth. The crew stood frozen, tears streaming down their faces. Their rigid, clinical perspective had been shattered by a wave of pure, undeniable empathy. Captain Thorn stood by his command chair. His body trembling, his face pale. The infection he had feared was revealed to be a tragic, beautiful story of survival and rebirth. The subverted colonists were not puppets, they were the children of 2 civilizations. His comms officer turned to him, his eyes wide. "Sir. High Command is hailing us. They are asking for final confirmation to dispatch the purification fleet." Thorn looked at the screen, at the waiting request. He saw the faces of his crew, their humanity raw and exposed. He looked out the viewport at the green, living world below. His entire career, his entire belief in order and compliance, was at war with the profound truth he had just been shown. He made a choice. He walked to his console, his movement steady. He did not confirm the request. He deleted it. Then, he began to compose a new, official report, his fingers flying across the keypad. "This is Captain Thorn of the ICCS Vigilance. My audit of the Veridia colony is complete. The colony is not just viable, it is evolving. I have found no evidence of hostile alien influence. Instead, I have found a unique human-alien symbiosis, a new path of development that must be studied with respect, and left in absolute, undisturbed peace. I am officially designating Veridia a Class 9 protected world. The Thorn Protocol is now in effect. All travel to this system is forbidden, by my authority." He was lying to his superiors. He was risking his career, his freedom, everything he believed in, to protect a world he had been sent to destroy. He had become its unexpected, and most powerful, guardian. The final scene shows the Vigilance turning, its engines firing as it prepares to leave Veridian space, now a protector instead of a predator. On the planet below, Elara stands with her father, watching the ship become a new star in their sky. The peace is saved. Their future is their own. They have faced the judgment of their own kind, and have answered not with fear, but with a song.